You checked your bank account this morning. The number was lower than you expected. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a small voice whispered that you already knew that. You spent it. You knew you were spending it. And you did it anyway. That is not a personal failure. That is your brain working exactly as it was designed to work. The real answer for why you cannot stop spending money is far stranger than you think. Your brain was not built for money. It was built for survival. And those two things are not the same. Not even close. For most of human history, there was no such thing as saving. There was no bank. There was no future account. There was only right now. If food was in front of you, you ate it. All of it. Because tomorrow it might be gone. If a resource appeared, you took it. Immediately. Completely. Because the creature that hesitated was the creature that starved. That instinct is still running inside you. Every single day.
Researchers call it delay discounting. The concept is simple, but the consequences are enormous. Your brain assigns less value to rewards that arrive in the future than to rewards that arrive right now. $1 today feels worth more than $1 next week, and $100 next month feels almost invisible compared to $20 in your hand this afternoon. Psychologist Walter Mischel studied this in children as early as the 1960s and 1970s with what became known as the Stanford Marshmallow Experiment. He placed a single marshmallow in front of a child and told them they could eat it now or wait 15 minutes and receive a second one. Most children ate the first marshmallow. They could not wait. And the follow-up studies over decades showed that the children who could delay gratification tended to have better outcomes in health, finances, and relationships. But here is what those headlines almost always missed. The ability to wait was not just about willpower. It was about trust. Children who had been let down before, who lived in unpredictable environments, who had learned that promised things rarely materialized, those children ate the marshmallow immediately. Because in their experience, waiting was a losing strategy. Your brain does the same thing. If your financial history has taught you that money disappears, that emergencies appear without warning, that the future is unstable, your brain stops believing in the future. And when your brain stops believing in the future, spending right now is not irrational. It is the most logical thing you can do. But delay discounting is only the beginning. There is a second mechanism running beneath it that most people never see. Neuroscientist Antonio Damasio spent years studying patients who had suffered damage to a specific region of the brain called the ventromedial prefrontal cortex. This is the area that links decisions to emotions. His patients were intelligent. They could reason, analyze, and explain consequences perfectly, but they could not make decisions. They could not choose. The brain that a future outcome matters, the future outcome simply does not register. It feels like nothing. And your brain will never sacrifice a real feeling now for a feeling that is nothing. This means that every time someone tells you to think about your future self and save for retirement, they are asking you to feel something for a stranger. Because to your brain, your future self is not you. Researcher Hal Hershfield at UCLA used brain imaging to study how people respond to images of themselves versus images of strangers. When participants looked at their current selves, the brain responded with recognition and emotional connection. When they looked at digitally aged images of their future selves, their brains responded almost identically to how they responded to images of strangers. Your future self is not family to your brain. Your future self is someone you have never met. So when you choose to spend today instead of saving for tomorrow, you are not choosing yourself over your future. You are choosing yourself over a stranger. And that is a choice your brain is very, very good at making. Now add one more layer. Add the environment you are living inside.
Everything around you has been engineered to exploit these exact mechanisms. Retail stores are not designed, they are calibrated. The lighting, the music tempo, the placement of products at eye level, the smell pumped into the ventilation system, all of it has been tested and refined to lower your psychological defenses and shorten the gap between desire and purchase. Buy now, pay later services did not appear because they are convenient. They appeared because they surgically remove the pain of spending. Normally, handing over money produces a moment of discomfort that acts as a natural break. MIT demonstrated that paying with cash activates the insula, the part of the brain associated with physical pain. Credit cards and digital payments suppress that signal almost entirely. The pain disappears. And when the pain disappears, the break disappears. Your ancestors never faced anything like this. There were no advertisements, no algorithms designed to learn your vulnerabilities and serve you your exact weakness at the exact moment you are most likely to crack. No one-click purchases, no countdown timers creating false scarcity, no social feeds showing you the life you do not have yet in an endless scroll designed to make you feel perpetually behind. Your brain's spending impulse is ancient. The systems extracting money from that impulse are modern, sophisticated, and built by some of the smartest engineers and behavioral scientists on the planet. This is not a fair fight. And here is the part that makes it harder. Status. Your brain does not only want survival, it wants position. It wants to signal where you stand in the social hierarchy. Because for your ancestors, low status meant less access to food, to mates, to protection, to survival. High status meant more of everything. So your brain is constantly broadcasting signals and reading signals. And consumer culture learned this about humans a very long time ago. Wealthy people did not simply buy things for utility. They bought things that were visibly expensive, specifically so others could see that they could afford to waste. The peacock spreads its tail not because it helps it fly, but because a tail that large and bright says to every watching eye, I am so healthy, so strong, so genetically superior that I can afford to carry this useless extravagance and still survive. The brand logo on the bag, the car in the driveway, the vacation photograph on the social feed, these are all tail feathers, and your brain responds to them the way it was always meant to, with desire, with urgency, with the need to signal back.
So, when you spend money you do not have on something you do not need to impress people who are probably doing the same thing, you are not being stupid. You are being a primate with a credit card, responding to status signals exactly the way evolution shaped you to respond, inside a system that was specifically designed to turn that response into profit. The question is not why you do it. The question is whether you can see the mechanism clearly enough to make a different choice. When a group of people were shown vivid, emotionally engaging images of their future selves, not blank-aged strangers, but realistic, specific, emotionally familiar versions of themselves, they made measurably different financial decisions. The future self became real. And when the future self became real, it became worth protecting. Your brain does not respond to numbers. It does not respond to spreadsheets or interest rate calculations. It responds to stories, to faces, to feelings. The moment you can feel your future self as clearly as you feel your hunger right now, something shifts. The marshmallow becomes less important. The stranger becomes family. That is not a trick. That is not a hack. That is simply understanding what your brain actually is and working with it instead of pretending it should behave like a calculator. Love the content? Drop a like and subscribe. Your support keeps me motivated to drop more valuable content for you.